partner I have in this, he travels and he comes to see me a lot, the German. And he was my partner in the farm I'm going to show you here in just a minute. But they developed land in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I was traveling there, and they were making all that money and prosperous, and I didn't go into it until in 96 to 98 is when I started this. When we went over, we started with 2,500 acres at $15 an acre. And remember that number, $15 an acre. 2,500 acres, all in jungle. We lived in a little tent, cooked lunch on a barrel, and slept up off the ground so the snakes wouldn't bite you. All jungle. We started with, on the neighbors, we had 2,500 purebred cattle. The cattle are a brand called Norlay. You'll see a picture of them. They're white. They have a jungle trait in that they never drink in water because of the snakes. Cattle that you see in America wade right out in the middle of a lake and drink when it's hot. And these cattle go slow, drink, and back up, and strictly for that trait. But as this goes on, you'll see the pictures, you'll see that. But what happened, had the 2,500 acres, and we had 500 registered cows. I'd put all the money up for this 2,500 acres, but it's just $15 an acre at that time. Cattle were $400 a head at that time. And we put them in. And this fellow that was our partner was a Brazilian. And he'd been the herdsman and had a good college degree in cattle. He was using my money to grow, and he wanted to expand, and we had people that came to us and wanted us to buy a big ranch in an area north of where we are, where it floods, and it's up on the Amazon. He wanted to buy cattle and spend my money, and we wouldn't let him do it. And we got home from the German, went back to Germany. I went home, and they called and they said, this guy stole your cattle. So I thought, we'll get right back over there. So we went right back the next day. And he stole our cattle. And he said we were so dumb, we didn't see an opportunity, so he was going to take the cattle. Well, when I got back, this German is a real big, really, the Germans are real dominant, real muscular, real loud voice. And we rented a little house in town, and we had an accountant, we had a housekeeper and a secretary there. And when I went in, he was sitting there, and this guy that was our manager was sitting there. And he said, Billy Joe, he is going to kill us. And I said, what do you mean going to kill us? So this guy pulled the drawer open, and he got a pistol out and laid it down on the desk. And he said, you all are dumb, you don't want to see opportunity, and I'm taking your cattle, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I looked at his gun, and it was a 6-shooter. Well, you know, you counted up the people that were there, I mean, he's going to have to shoot all of us and still could put bullets in. So, I mean, it sounded like I was brave, but I was scared as hell, to be honest. So I told this German, I said, Hans, let's go to the police and we'll take a warrant out for him. He stole our cattle. So I did, and we got a warrant for him. But he was working for us, and if you don't pay anybody, then you owe them and you have to pay them regardless what you fired them for. So we owed him about 2 months' pay, so he took a warrant out for me. And every time I'd go to Bolivia, they had a warrant there, and when I'd get ready to leave the airport, well, the guy would always say, "We can't let you leave. We got a warrant for you." And I'd take a $100 bill, and I'd say, "I believe you're confused. I don't believe I'm that guy." And he looked at the $100 bill and said, "That's not you." Well, I got by for probably 6 months doing that. So one day they knew I was getting ready to go in the airport, and the guy told me, he said, "The police are outside. They know you're going to be arrested, and you got to pay this guy." So they let me go out the back door, and I rented a little plane and flew down to Argentina. And I'd been dove hunting in Argentina with Don Bowles and people at Madisonville that are big hunters. So I knew it as a place there that I could go, and knew I could get there from them. So I got a bus. Like to never figured out a bus. I couldn't speak a word of their language, and rode the bus all night to another town I knew, and then got to the airport and flew home the next day. So then after that, we resolved it, and I paid him, and he paid me, and we settled. But my German friend has never been back. And he said, those people will still kill you. And I've said, if we're going to live the rest of our life in fear, why, that's no end. And you get killed here in Owensboro. If you don't believe it, read the paper every day. So it's silly to think about that. But when that guy got that pistol out and laid it on the desk, he's never got over that in that. I'm going to pass this around. I want you to look at this. What I do, I take 2 people every year during summer, and they will spend summer working on the ranch in that. And every one of those that has ever been over and done that has ended up with a really good job. The one boy works for Caterpillar and has got a management job in Mexico. One of the professors at UK's son went back over there and actually is living there and bought land there. Everyone that's ever been over there and spent, now the 2 that are pictures here, one of them's going to Harvard next year and the other will be a senior. They're brothers. So 2 people go every year, and I'll pass this around. You can look at it. She just got her sheet start first. Let's go into some slides. I really love going down there and riding with the cowboys, and we go out. It started with 2,500 acres at $15 an acre and 400 cattle. And now there's 40,000 acres and 14,000 cows. That farm is from Owensboro to Bowling Green, a mile wide. Gives you an idea of the size of it. But there's 14 cowboys, and that's typical of horse. I took American saddles over. I thought that was something would really be nice that they'd like. I bought nice saddles and took, but they ride saddles that is totally different than ours. Like that. Let's next slide. The land, I just got a bid yesterday on clearing land here. Land here costs from $400 to $1,200 an acre to clear land here. The $400 is the cheapest that you can do. This land with this bulldozer This land is really fertile and never uses any fertilizer. Really unusual. pH of soil, you don't have to use lime. But with that tractor, you can see that up on the front. We push those trees over. They're salt down about 5 to 6 foot deep. And those trees are easy to push over because those roots. That next slide. That shows you kind of how. Can you turn the lights off here where you can see them better? Yeah. Now, there you go. The way we push that up, that we're getting this knocked down and pushed up for $75 an acre. I took, yesterday I went up on the east side up in the new hospital. They're going to clear that land right across the road from that and develop that. And the bid is going to be about $1,200 an acre. Now, we don't do it. We push ours all down, but the other people that are clearing big tracts of land have 2 bulldozers, and they have a chain that's come off of a ship, real big, heavy chain. They take 2 bulldozers and pull a chain, and that chain knocks those down. Then they have a chain behind that, and that chain root wads that and pulls them out of the ground like that. So that's the way this land is cleared. Okay. My best friends in the world are Mennonites. They live down there. Honest, really good people. They sleep in that wagon and clear, and that's their operation there. They're really good friends and hard workers. So, but that's what the land looks like after it's been cleared. It almost looks like the land right here in Davis County. We have a neighbor from Mexico, it's a Mennonite. He's raised cotton for 14, 15 years in a row without fertilizer. Okay. That's a picture overhead of the ranch. This is the corral. The house is up there. We got, in our management team, there's a little town called Post Old Little Tiger, means home of the tiger. And it's right there by that. We're building houses for our management people, brick houses. Bricks are $30 a thousand, and a brick is about half again big as our bricks. A bricklayer and a helper was $5 a day, and now they're up to $12 a day with a helper. We build all the inside walls instead of wood. We build all the inside walls. So we can build, in this little town, we can build a nice brick house for $400 to $600, not counting the plumbing and that part. And we're getting some, a little bit of a problem. Our neighbors, they say that we're doing something that's never been done, and everybody's going to want to do the same thing. They don't want to do that, you know. But we have tremendous loyalty, and we're building our 4th house now. And you have tremendous loyalty and a lot of pride in doing that. Okay. We got about 400 horses, and each cowboy's got 3 horses that he rides. He can ride same one every day, or he can rotate them like that. Okay. There's this is a typical of one of the other houses. It's built like that. You can see the posts around it. And we have big porches. Those posts won't rot or won't burn like that. And they all come off the ranch. Okay. That inside, the way they cook, they have wood here, And if you want to turn the heat up, you just put more wood in. If you want to turn the heat down, you pull it out a little bit. Pretty simple. Okay. This, we cook all the bread in these. They make that, and that's covered with mud. And as they push that in, they push it in from one side, it's done when they push it out the other side. And really good bread. Okay. There's the families all get together, and they really love attention. You can imagine, and when they talk about the houses, and they have a lot of pride in their, they make their own, a lot of the harness for the horses, and they always show you what they've got. Okay. This is typical of when they're going to town, and when they dress up to go out like that. Okay. This, to me, rotational grazing is a real prosperous way to take care of cattle. That you can have cattle eat the grass down, and as it comes up, it's tender, it's real nutritious. It's a lot better than when it grows up and you get the stems and stalks. This down there, I hired 4 people to try to do this here in America and get people to rotational graze. What we do, we divide those in, and we have about 2,500 head per unit. And from 1 to 4 days, you'll leave them in the field. And those cattle will tell you when they're about have consumed that grass, the tender good part. They'll be at the gate ready to go. And it's just like you going to lunch is what it's like. We put 3 to 4 cowboys in front, and they'll follow those cowboys. There'll be 2,500 in that herd like that. And then we have 3 cowboys in the back. And for any of them that are stragglers or get hurt or anything, but they know that they're going to new grass. And it's amazing how that you can watch it, and when they consume that grass, they're lined up and ready to go. Okay. These are cross. They are almost like a Brahma here. They have a little hump on the back. The meat's real tender. You cut the meat a certain way with the grain of the meat, and it's a really prosperous way of ranching. Okay. Here's 2 of our champion bulls. We've got about 60 new bulls a year that we buy, and it amazes me how the technology, everything we do, and I've talked to UK about this a lot, very few people here rotational graze and do that like this, and actually farm like this. And I don't know, we spent a lot of money here hiring people, trying to do what we're doing there, and we never did make it work. Never did, and just gave up. Okay. We ear tag, have our animals ear tagged. So on 14,000, we've got a record. We can go and find each animal if we have to like that. But you also keep records about the breeding and what your best performance are. So that it is amazing to me, with no education, how smart these cowboys are and how they can handle those. And every time we go, I try to take people that have never been. We'll let them ride a horse, let them try to lasso, and it's a good experience. Okay. It's just another picture of it. Okay. You know what that is? They're lined up for lunch. It's amazing, isn't it? How that nature, how that works. Okay. This is one of our partners from up in Hancock County. He's a contractor from up in Hancock County, and he's got about 400 employees working in Hancock County now, but loves to go over there. Everybody goes. You can see he's got one of their bridles. He's riding the horse. The lassos are all made out of the hide of the cattle. They cut that hide in little strips. They wind to make all their own lassos. And it's kind of like you have a custom car or something special on your car. That's what those cowboys, they'll make those, and they'll put all kinds of little silver things and like that. Okay. That's a picture of grain sorghum with no fertilizer. And that will make probably 150 bushels an acre. You can tell by my jacket that's in the winter. We raise that as a winter crop, and that's mainly a lot. We feed the cattle grain. Now, hardly any other people feed grain. Most of them just feed the grass, but we're trying to get those. We're trying to make a better quality product, and we're trying to sell that. Okay. Now, the amazing thing to me is how fertile the land is. I'm in the fertilizer business here, or was in the fertilizer business. That field of milo you saw, if we hadn't put nitrogen on it, it would be as yellow as a pumpkin. This grass, I went over in Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, last of November, and planted this field. This is the 1st of March. From November to 1st of March, that's taller than us sitting up on top of that pickup. That grass is a crossbred grass that comes from Brazil, and real high in protein, really nutritious. Now, the only problem with that, anybody guess what the problem would be? It's tall, and the cattle really rub it down. You can imagine when they walk out through there how they tromp it down like that. We're starting to a little bit in the winter when we have the winter. Well, the season is, we have same rainfall we have here in Kentucky, 50 inches a year, but we have more in the summer than we do in the winter. So in the winter it's dry. We can raise grass in the winter like that. We run short of grass. Okay. There's my neighbor's cotton. 15 years in a row, cotton's been in this field. And you can see what it looks like that. It's amazing, okay? Now, here's the thing that amazes me is the work ethic of these people. They pick all this cotton by hand, and they pay them by the pound, but they walk up that ladder and dump that over in that wagon. It's amazing to me. They're small people, and they're 50 pounds in each one of these, and those two guys are walking up that ladder, and they dump that over in there like that. And I don't know, there's a lot. It's a lot of things could be mechanized and changed and bring, but I really respect the work ethic of those people. Okay. Now, anybody know what that is?
Bandsaw.
Who's that?
It's a bandsaw mill.
Bandsaw. You get the award today. We cut all our timber. We got 3 guys that cut timber every day. It's a bandsaw, and some of those trees are 5 and 6 foot around, like that. But the 4 guys we have, they cut all of our lumber, and they cut like a 2x4 or 2x10. They cut the lumber with a chainsaw. They work out in the jungle. They live in a tent there. They have one guy that helps carry the lumber out like that. They got a pistol. Whatever they eat that day is what they shoot. And they live right there. They're the toughest people that I've ever known. We got 4 of them. All of them are in their, I'd say the youngest one is over 60. And one guy is 80 years old, rides a bicycle. Well, I think his picture's in here somewhere. That's on a neighbor farm. A lot of our neighbors are Mennonites. You can see the steel wheels on the tractor. All of them wear those bib overalls, and really good friends, really good neighbors, and they do a lot of custom work for it. Okay. Well, this is the guy that saws the post. You can see I took my daughter and my granddaughter over there, and then also one of our neighbors. This is a little deer that guy shot for us. We got there about 11 o'clock. He rolled up. That's what we had for lunch. So you have really fresh meat. You don't have to fix that. But we live off the land. We got turkeys, we got geese, we got hogs, we got anything you want in food line. Well, it's there and fresh and ready to go. Okay. That's a picture of the jungle. Anybody know what this is? That's a bottle tree. Those trees are big around like that. When we clear the land, we have to bury that. That wood won't burn or ever rot. And what we do, they're kind of a nuisance in burying. Okay. That's our neighbor Mennonites. They're really proud people, and they really nurture their children. I've never met one of those that they didn't take you and show you your kids, and they want to make sure that you know their children and who their children are. I really respect them. Okay. The name of the place is Posto del Tigre, and you can see why it's named Tigre. Now, those cattle are those animals are more sophisticated than American animals. They will hunt a cow, they'll kill that cow and cut its throat like that, but they wait a day before they eat that. They have aged beef. And our animals here, as soon as they kill something, they eat it. So they're more sophisticated than ours. But we pay the cowboys to hide, and when that tiger comes back to eat the beef, then we shoot the tiger. So that's the way that will be about 14 to 15 a year is about how many that you actually kill. They weigh about 500 pounds. They're a big animal like that. Okay. And that shows you this is grass we brought from Kentucky. It's Bermuda grass, and we're trying all different types of things like that, but you can see that kind of how that is, all right? Now, I think when I see the government here, I see what's going on, you see the elections here, and what is happening. Beef in America is the highest it's ever been in history. There's a shortage of beef right now in this country. If you look in the grocery stores, at all the ads, you don't see them advertising beef. Everything now is pork or chicken, pretty well they're advertising. And it'll take a long time to get the beef numbers back up to where beef will be cheap again, like that. It's a world, there's a lot of lessons in economy like that. That country, when you go into that town, you'll probably stay in one place and see as many 6 to 10 big tires going up. It's a really prosperous, but there's almost no tax, and everything is so cost difference that you can see really a lot of growth in that. Now, even yesterday, we were talking about permits and planning and zoning here and the things that we go through in this country. You can see that we cannot compete long-term worldwide with those kind of people. Anybody know what the price of a cattle are here? Anybody got any cattle?
About $2 on the hoof.
How much?
It costs $2 on the hoof, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gone up. It's up to 3 on the hoof.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, now there, what's highest it's ever been over there, it's $91. We'll get $910. And what do you get here for a steer?
I sold Holstein steers at $263 3 months ago a pound.
How much?
$263,
$263.
and that's Holstein. That's not a beef cow.
Yeah. What would a good beef cow be?
You're getting 99 cents a pound over there?
Huh?
You're getting 99 cents a pound over there?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Beef cows last week brought over $3 a pound.
yeah. So, $91 over there for one, $300 here for one, like that. But there's a shortage of beef over there. I mean, those people consume beef, and it's amazing how the growth that you see, and when you see it really tells a tale when you are over there, and everything is the one thing that I really worry about, and the money we put over there, I just leave it and it grows. We just, whatever we make, we buy more, like that. One of our neighbors here, a Wink, is my partner, and he has cattle, and he sold his, brought his money back. We have left everything there, but we've gone from 2,500 acres to 40,000 acres. We've gone from 400 or 250 animals to 14,000 animals. So you can see from 99 to now how much growth that's been in that. Now, the president hates Americans. And the reason this kind of goes back, when I first went over there, we go out on the ranch, and the roads are terrible. And SUV, a real nice four-wheel drive Chevrolet pickup, would pass you. And America, we had police over there, and the police would arrest people with the marijuana. We had 2 American jails in Bolivia, and people that were Americans actually arresting Bolivian people, putting them in jail that were raising marijuana like that. When this guy was elected, he turned the jails out, and he said, if you don't buy the marijuana out of the drugs, we won't have a market for them. And you need to stop it on your border. And if you stop it on your border, you won't have to put our people in jail. When they have a crop and they can't sell, they won't raise it anymore. So he don't like Americans at all. And what I have an accountant and a manager, a veterinarian, and they own 2% each of the ranch. So when we have an audit, well, they're the ones that they answer to the government. When they came last summer and audited us, and I went over there and the guy said, we're short of beef in this country, we're short of food in this country, and you're doing what we want to do, you're developing the land, and we'll be back in 5 years. Check you there. So they're actually encouraging us to increase our thing. Now, the last time I was there, I never raised wheat. And I have a neighbor that was raising wheat, so our guy raised a wheat crop. We had 2 little fields of wheat, and those 2 little fields brought $94,000. And I went with him to collect the money at the mill, and the guy had been to school in America, and I forgot what, but one of the big East schools. And he showed us, he pulled up on the internet what the Chicago Board of Trade was for wheat. And he's paying us about $2 a bushel more than the Chicago Board of Trade. And I said, if I was in America, they'd pull that up and they'd say, now the freight from Owensboro to Chicago is 60 cents, so we're going to pay you $1 a bushel less than the Chicago market. And I said, something just doesn't add up here. And he said, look, we can't raise enough bread. I'm short of flour every day in demand. And he said, we're trying to encourage you to raise more wheat. And he said, I hope that you understand what I'm saying, like that. But the World Food Supply, you can see the beef thing, you see that, you see the prosperity, and you can see that they have a lot of money left out of their income to buy food like that. So there's a lot of things, a lot of lessons going on in the world right now.